From the top of Whernside in the Yorkshire Dales, the view's pretty good.
Thanks, mate.
Apart from that guy who's messing it up a bit. Welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, there was a repeat and some Blaak magic at the World Championships in Bergen. Plus, Dan, some breaking news. Recumbents can be cool.
Don't believe you. In racing news, there's a new UCI Pres, a very important new UCI rule, and we find out exactly how much faster Caleb Ewan's sprinting position is.
Yep, and a bumper extreme corner this week. It's a cyclocross fails and bails special. Here's a sneak peek.
This week, in the world of cycling, we learned that age is no barrier to speed. Giuseppe Marinoni set a new world hour record, completing over 39 kilometres at over 80 years of age.
Fair play, Giuseppe. That is impressive. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we also learned that recumbents can be cool.
Nope, still don't believe you. Gonna have to prove it.
All right, watch this. This is Kurt Voorhees, mountain bike legend, showing that his skilky skills actually translate across. He is well worth a follow on Instagram.
Yeah, I might follow. Does he do more than just recumbent stuff?
Yeah, he does
Yeah,
actually.
I'm going to give him a follow. Also, in the world of cycling this week, we learned that Peter Sagan is the king of men's professional cycling. On Sunday in Bergen, he clinched his third consecutive World Championship victory. Quite an unbelievable feat and a unique feat in the sport of cycling. And I don't think there was a single person that had a bad word to say about it.
There were a couple of people grumbling. Apparently, he didn't do enough in the race, other than win it, of course.
These are presumably the same people that say that he does too much in Spring Classics races.
Yeah, probably the very same ones, in fact. The question that we need to answer now, Dan, as always, how did he actually manage to win?
Well, we don't know, do we? We didn't see him.
No. This could be quite an awkward and potentially short part of the show, couldn't it?
Yeah. well, hang on. Maybe it's because we didn't see him that he managed to win.
Oh, I like where this is going, Dan.
Yeah, because there's a lot more to winning a bike race than actually being seen. I mean, even if you look at the replays from the race on Sunday, you would be hard pushed to pick out Peter Sagan. It's more like a game of Where's Wally or pick out Peter, maybe. There are no prizes, though, for showing that you are the strongest in a bicycle race. The only prize is for crossing the line first.
You say that, but there are wattage bazookas up for grabs.
I guess there's silver and
but
bronze medals as well.
Yeah, exactly. I do know what you mean, actually. And Tom Boonen puts it very eloquently when he says that dirty faces win races.
I've not heard that. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it? Still, having said that, waiting is a bit of a gamble, isn't it? I mean, the race could quite easily have just disappeared down the road before Sagan had even actually done anything in the race. In fact, he actually said that it wasn't until 1 kilometre to go, that he actually thought he was in the shout.
Well, maybe that is a good point, Si. The fact that he's already had so much success in his career maybe allows him to be more relaxed and take those big gambles.
I can see that, actually. Yeah. I mean, winning 3 successive World Road Race Championships cements him as one of the sport's all-time greats. But had he not won it, it wouldn't have dented his reputation one bit, would it? 2-time world champ still sounds pretty blooming good.
Yeah. I also wonder whether the fact that he is in quite a small team at the World Championships also plays into his hands. He's got 5 teammates to help him around on Sunday's race, whereas the big nations like Italy and France and Belgium and Spain, etc., they've all got 9 riders, and so a lot of the pressure falls on their shoulders, not only to control the race, but also to make the race.
Yeah, that is true, actually, although he did say, again in post-race interviews, as well as sterling work from his teammates, he had to thank a lot of friends in the peloton. So actually maybe being liked by your peers is actually a key ingredient to being successful.
Do you think that's why we weren't more successful? You had to be liked?
I think that's almost definitely one of the reasons why we weren't more successful. I do think as well we've been skirting around perhaps the most important point, and that is just that he's a bloody good bike rider, isn't he? I mean, if you watch that last kilometre, the kilometre that you can actually see Peter Sagan, it's just a masterclass, isn't it? In positioning, in timing, not to mention the fact that he's just incredibly strong at the end. He's just a legend.
Yeah, he's a pretty good all-round bike rider, Pidcock. He's got everything going, hasn't he? I think that we should end this part with a stat.
Oh yeah.
Something which for me I think sums up Sagan as a whole. This comes in from Lucas Knopfler, and he has looked back through Peter Sagan's career and said that 29% of his race days were done in a normal trade team jersey. And that means that 71% of Peter Sagan's career race days have been done either in the Rainbow jersey as world champion, in his national championships jersey, or in a jersey which says he's the leader of a classification. And that is mind-boggling.
That is quite mind-boggling, isn't it? You'd have to have quite a lot of decimal places, wouldn't you, to work out what percentage we'd spent not in our jerseys.
Well, to be fair, before I turned pro, I once turned up to a race where I'd forgotten my jersey, so I had to use a different jersey from somebody else. So that was one day.
Yeah, I did that, but with shorts.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We're starting cycling shorts this week with a couple of news snippets coming out of the Netherlands. And firstly, the Veilig Verkeer Nederland Foundation wants to ban, wait for it, crossbars. Yeah, that's right, top tubes. And apparently we shouldn't have men's and women's bikes anymore. We should have gender neutral bikes without top tubes because they are dangerous, particularly for older riders, they say.
Maybe we should warn Matt about that.
I think we should.
To be fair, when I was 14, I tried to clear a set of doubles, and in doing so, I pulled both feet out of my toe clips and straps and landed on the top tube. So I can tell you firsthand, they are very dangerous and they hurt a lot.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Back to the story though. Now, it might sound ridiculous to ban top tubes, but they do present some pretty good facts to back up their argument.
They do.
So apparently there was a Swedish study, and what it found was that there was a lesser chance of head injury when you collided or had a traffic accident when you didn't have a top tube, and it also gave you a better and safer riding position.
I struggle to understand that, but this next one, if you have a child in a child seat on the back of the bike, then the bike is less stable when you're getting on and off
Yeah,
it
I can
with
see
a
that
crossbar.
one.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, don't worry, we are not going to be abandoning top tubes anytime soon for racing and general riding. But it has to be said, if the stats are there and they are robust, then it does make sense for city bikes, doesn't it? Particularly public hire bikes, which already go down the kind of gender neutral, no top tube.
Yeah, they
kind of
do,
avenue.
don't they?
Now, away from the Netherlands and to more global news now, and the UCI have got a new president. Welcome, David Lepartillon.
Oh, come on, you did it better.
Bienvenue, David Lepartillon. That's right. The Frenchman won in a landslide, in fact, from Brian Cookson, 37 votes to 8, and he takes over the reins at the UCI with immediate effect.
Yeah, that is convincing victory, I think you might say.
Yeah.
Before the election day itself, though, the UCI implemented a new rule to add to the very big book of rules at the UCI already. This one, though, is about squad sizes. So in 2018 and beyond, the squad size at the Tour de France and all the other Grand Tours will be a maximum of 8, and at all other UCI sanctioned races, no more than 7 riders allowed on a single team. And I, for one, think that this is going to be a good rule.
I think it's going to be a great rule, actually. The reason they gave was for safety, so to limit the size of the peloton. But I think it'll make racing more exciting.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think they went far enough. 6-man teams at the Tour de France. That's what I think. Yeah, right. Sticking with racing news, a couple of transfers for you. The Belgian champ Jolien D'Or moves from Wilbur High 5 over to Orica Scott. Meanwhile, Simon Gerrans leaves Orica Scott and he goes to BMC.
Wow, he's been there from the start, I think, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
2012. Sticking with an Orica Scott rider, let's go back to what we talked about in the intro, Caleb Ewan. Do you want to know exactly how much faster or more aero his sprinting position is?
Well, we need to ask Bert Blokken of the Eindhoven University. Another Dutch story.
Yeah, Dutch are strong at the moment, aren't
Crikey, yeah. His team used computational fluid dynamics to estimate that Caleb Ewan's position is 24% more aerodynamic, which means it's 14% faster.
Wow.
So they say.
And another stat, it's actually 64.58% more dangerous.
Good lord, that is
I
incredible.
did make that up, but it's got to be up there with the full Froome for the most dangerous position on a bike in pro cycling, I think.
Try to touch your face on the ground.
Also, don't try Caleb Ewan's position at home.
No.
Like Si.
No.
I presume you didn't use the Caleb Ewan position, Si, en route to 23rd at the Three Peaks Cyclocross on Sunday.
Well, I did briefly, actually. I did the Ewan straight into the Superman, head first into a bog.
He came off, did you?
Well, I did send it over the pass, yeah. How about you? Did you use it at the Velo Birmingham?
No, I didn't need to because there was absolutely no sprinting involved in my part. I did try and get aero at the start to save some energy, but even that didn't work because in the last 10 miles, I really needed some sugar. Yeah. There was quite a funny story actually from Velo Birmingham, and that was from one of the entrants called John Hoopingartner. He entered Velo Birmingham and later found out that it wasn't Birmingham in Alabama, but Birmingham in the UK. So he had quite a long way to travel. But he decided it looked so cool, the event, that he did indeed book some flights and book some accommodation and came over to do it and really enjoyed himself.
Fair play, John. Nice work.
Take of the week time now, and some of you may remember that some time ago we showed a video from Adam Debreceni which showed off his augmented reality maps, and it caused quite a stir, not just in cycling but in other parts and other sports, and such a stir that he has now created a dedicated app to it called Fitness AR.
Yeah, you sync up your Strava account, you then choose an activity that you want to view, and it creates a super cool augmented reality map powered by Mapbox. And then you can also use your phone to record the augmented reality map and create a little video of it. It's like the future, Dan.
Yeah, it is. Do you want to know what else could well be the future?
Yes, please.
Well, Team Aqua Blue Sport, who are the first ever Irish pro-continental cycling team, they've just come off the back, of course, of a very successful debut Grand Tour at the Vuelta.
Did, yeah.
But from next year onwards, they in the team are going to be using the brand new 3T Strada aero bikes.
I did see that, and the big news from that is that those bikes can't be used with front derailleurs, meaning that the team are going to have to ride one-by drivetrains, so one chainring up front the whole year.
Which in turn means that they will be the first team since about 1986 probably to be having the use of less than 12 gears, albeit this time around with disc brakes.
Well, you say that, Dan, but if for some bizarre reason Aqua Blue happened to also be sponsored by Phil Wood Components, purveyors of some beautifully machined bike bits, then actually they might have 13 gears at their disposal, because they were showing off a new prototype group set. So it uses a standard 11 to 40 11-speed Shimano cassette with a couple of other sprockets bolted on the back, up to a 50 tooth cassette. Then you have to add a little bit onto derailleur to allow it to move more, to allow it to swing further out. Then you have to build a custom frame to have 150mm space dropouts. That's like boost on mountain bikes. And then you have to use a friction shifter to change gear.
Sounds mightily complicated. And I'd also say that anything that uses a friction shifter now is most definitely not a step into the future, is it?
Well, that's probably true.
Right, yeah. I will cut them some slack though. As you said, it was a prototype, so maybe things will change for the actual production model. It does beg the question though, are the days of front mechs numbered?
Well,
I mean, the mountain bike world are already there. They barely use a front mech. The cyclocross world and the gravel worlds, they're on their way, aren't they? Are we, as roadies, next on the list?
Yes, we are, Dan. We are. I'm convinced. Let us know what you think, then. Vote just up there. Yes, front derailleurs are on borrowed time. We're not going to use them much more. Or no, you're going to keep your front derailleur.
You're being very controversial this week.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't mean to be. I do like single chainrings up front, though.
I like front derailleurs. So much racing to get through from the World Championships in Bergen last week. Following on from Team Sunweb's dominance of the TTTs, it was the Dutch who dominated the ITTs, or the individual time trials. Starting off with the women's, it was quite an emotional victory, wasn't it, for Annemiek van Vleuten? Just over 12 months on from her horrific crash at the Rio Olympics. She saw her mother after the race, which was good, jumped over the barriers from the medal ceremony. Whilst in the men's race, Tom Dumoulin was so dominant, he probably could have stopped for a dump at the bottom of that last climb, let alone a bike change, and still held on to take the victory.
That's quite a thought, Dan. Thanks for that one. We've got to give some honourable shout-outs to a couple of amazing junior performances. Firstly, Elena Pirrone of Italy won both the junior women's time trial and road race, which is pretty awesome. And also Tom Pidcock of the UK added the individual time trial title to his world cyclocross title from earlier in the year, and also his Paris-Roubaix win as well, junior Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah, those two are going places.
I think
sport,
they are, yeah. Very fast, probably, as well.
Yeah. Now, on to the road races, and as I said, now top 10 riders to watch out for a few days previous to that. The Dutch were always going to be strong, very strong, and it turned out that I was completely...
No, mate, no, hang on. You can't claim that you were right because you didn't mention the winner.
Oh, come on. I said that they were going to be strong, and they were very strong indeed.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you got it right. It just means that...
Can I actually mention who won the race now?
You can now, if you like.
Chantal Blaak is the new women's world road race champion. The 27-year-old was part of a very strong Dutch squad. She did crash actually earlier on. She had quite a hard chase to get back to the peloton, but she had enough in her legs to attack with 8 kilometres still remaining and hold on for the victory, never to be seen again basically. The silver medal went to Australia's Katrin Garfoot, whilst last year's winner, Amelie Didriksen of Denmark, took the bronze medal this time around, so a strong backup performance from her.
So the Dutch, as you can imagine, pretty much crushed the medals table, didn't they? Topping it off with 4 golds and 2 silvers, which is mighty impressive.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Meanwhile, the cyclocross season continued apace over in the US of A last weekend. The second round of the UCI World Cup took place at Trek's headquarters in Waterloo in Wisconsin. And handily for us, Sagan can't prove that she once again can, and Tim Merlier again took a Perlier.
Yay! You gotta love the cyclocross season, haven't you? Brilliant. Yes, Sagan did indeed take the victory. She attacked the lead group midway through the race and held on to win in some very hot, very untypical cyclocross conditions.
Didn't seem to affect Mathieu van der Poel though, did it? For the second consecutive weekend, he basically looked to be in a league of his own as he led the race from gun to tape. His arch rival, meanwhile, Wout van Aert, is still some way off the pace at the moment. He could only finish 7th on the day.
Probably the heat. Hopefully for him it's the heat. Now, we also caught sight of this quite amusing tweet from the coffee manufacturer Sagan. The father of mountain biking, arguably, Gary Fisher, was also at the race, but clearly he wanted to fly under the radar, so he adopted this really quite clever disguise.
Well, he's certainly laying low there, isn't he, Gary Fisher?
Oh, yeah.
Never will be recognised. Anyway, the Cyclocross World Cup leads us nicely in to this week's Wattage Bazooka! It was the Telenet Fidea team who took this footage out on one of their secret training sessions. I bet this was a Sven Nys special back in the day. Anyway, that ride on the front is the Dutchman Lars van der Haar, and that, I think you will agree, is a well-deserved wattage bazooka. There's got to be some power going through his legs there.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, this week's GCN viewer wattage bazooka, it's a very special one. It goes to this man, Brian Griffith, oh yeah, the architect of our own wattage bazooka sign, said that he finally felt like he'd done something to deserve a wattage bazooka. And oh my word, Brian, you definitely deserve it. 204 miles, 8,000 feet of climbing in 3 states. That is an epic ride and a well-deserved wattage bazooka.
Yeah. If you'd like to get a wattage bazooka, just send us something to the GCN offices. In all seriousness, if you'd like to nominate yourself or a friend, just use the hashtag wattage bazooka, as you see here, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
He looks like such a nice guy, doesn't he? /Bodge of the week. Let's get straight in there, Dan. This one from R. Jeffs. He's found an absolute perler, a classic aero rear wheel made out of a real estate sign. Stylish, probably functional, and also a disc brake rotor cover fashioned from another disc brake rotor, which is ingenious.
What's underneath the saddle?
Crikey, I don't know. Or what's wrapped around the top tube. Bizarre.
Next up, we're saying that's a hack or a bodge, by the way.
I don't think that's definitely bodge, isn't it? Yeah.
Another bodge coming out, I can say that now. From Elaine Burrows. Mechanical doping of your pub bike. There's a lot going on there. I think that's some sort of chainsaw motor linked to the front wheel to propel that. But look at the shape of the frame.
That is one terrifying bit of kit. Grade A bodge there. This one, though, from Dougimus Prime. Firstly, hats off to your Instagram name. That's genius. He's managed to fashion a way of creating more chain slack to allow him to fix his chain. What looks like an inhaler.
Yeah.
That's a hack. Look at that.
Good work.
Genius. Using what's available to just to make life better. Brilliant.
I love this one from Team Coastal. Saw this last week in Panama City. I guess money doesn't buy you common sense. And it looks like a bike rack, which is probably a sea sucker, mounted to the front of the car rather than the rear. Very interesting. On her position to do
please let that be like an optical illusion and not someone actually strapping their bike to the front of their car. Anyway. Maybe it's a hack. Maybe they know something we don't, Dan.
Bike enchilada. Somebody's tried to increase the comfort of their saddle by the looks of things. That's going to make a lot of noise, though, initially, when there's still air in those bubbles.
Well, you'd have to replace it when the noise is stopped, wouldn't you? Maybe that's how you know. Every time you hit a bump,
Yeah, once that goes, time to replace the bubble wrap.
Good use of gaffer tape there as well. That's brilliant.
Bosh.
Right, this one. Yeah, good point. This one could well be the world's most expensive toilet roll holder, sent in by Indiana Seagull. It looks like the end of a Cervelo that's been chopped in half to make into a toilet roll stand. A genius hack, but there is one thing that pains me, Dan. The quick release is on the wrong side.
Oh yeah.
So that would have been a hack, but perhaps it's a bodge.
Somebody also pointed out in the comments that it's the Shane the Loo roll is on the wrong way around. Don't know if I can even see that on that point.
No, you can. You can see it's dropping out.
Apparently yes.
I've heard that the orientation of a toilet roll has been quoted as grounds for divorce before. People have such strong arguments about which way around your bog roll hangs. Yeah.
Leave your comments below, as ever.
Yeah, if only we could have another vote. Which way around does the toilet roll hang? Yeah. Inwards or outwards?
Right, if you'd like
to...
I don't even know where to start with this. If you'd like to send in more hacks or bodges for next week's GCN show, just use the hashtag GCN hack and we'll pick our favourites again next week.
Competitions now. Before we get on to caption competition, we've got a winner for you that we've got to announce. Paul Stenson hasn't just won himself a GCN water bottle, he's won himself a brand new watt bike Atom.
Whoa.
Yeah, from the unboxing competition just the other week. Congratulations, Paul. That'll be on its way to you very soon.
That is a mega prize, isn't it? That
mega prize.
Not to do down our GCN Camelback water bottles, which you will receive if you are the winner of the caption competition. We'll announce last week's winner in just a few moments' time. This, though, was the picture that you were giving us your captions for, and the winner this week, and this is another perler.
Oh yeah.
It comes in from Earthsticks, who put caption competition. I wanted to wear this jersey since I was a kid.
That is amazing.
We really
Genuinely, that is absolutely amazing. Laugh out loud worthy. Another pun, isn't it?
Write into us on Facebook, Earthstick, and we will get the Camelback water bottle to you ASAP.
All right then, another Camelback bottle up for grabs now. It's this week's caption competition. This is your photo. Philippe Gilbert talking to Greg van Avermaet. Shall I get started now?
Go on then.
Okay. No, Greg, I just don't care about Paris-Roubaix. I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah, did you get that?
No. Leave your captions in the comment section down below, though, and see if you can do as well as Earthstick. Love that one. Before we tell you what is coming up on the channel this week, a few choice comments underneath what was on the channel last week.
Yeah, Dave Warnock really made me chuckle when he pointed out that Matt and I'd actually missed out a reason to get out of the saddle in Wednesday's video. And that was because when it's rained on your saddle, when you've been having a coffee, so basically keep your bum dry. It's true, that.
It is true.
Very true.
Meanwhile, under Mark Beaumont's video with Cy, Max White pointed out that at the time there were 2 dislikes. And he said, presumably, they were Mark's legs. Both of them.
Yeah. Now, this did spark quite an amusing thread, given that inevitably 1 or 2 more dislikes did pop up. Damien said, man, now it's 6. How many legs does this guy have?
Yeah, and following immediately on from Damon, we had Zero Series MMX, who chimed in when it got up to 7 dislikes. He said, presumably now it is legs, arms, lungs, and head, maybe.
Yeah. You're not wrong either. I just think they were all complaining, actually.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Right then, Dan, what is on the channel this week,
Well,
mate?
I shall tell you now. On Wednesday, we are going to show you how to wheelie a road bike.
It's going to be really
From
good,
yours
that
truly.
one.
It's going to be great.
Really
you
good.
are right there. And on Thursday, excited about this one, it is our latest top 10 cycling impersonations.
He can win fair and square, but didn't we all despair when he held onto a team car whilst the race was live on air?
Ciao ragazzi, arrivederci, a dopo.
Hey! What are you doing?
Friday, as ever, we have Ask GC Anything.
Yeah, Saturday's Pro Bike is from Primoz Roglic, second in the recent World Time Trial Champs. Sunday, we've got a first look actually at a gravel bike. This is from kind of a relaunched, refreshed Italian brand called Titici. And then Monday, we're in the workshop.
Yeah.
It's Maintenance Monday.
And then on Tuesday,
From the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago, welcome to the GCN Show.
it's almost the end of the show, but you know what that means? It is Extreme Corner, which, as we mentioned in the intro, this week is a compilation of cyclocross fails and bails. Take it away.
Line here, pretty classic.
Come on, Dan, dig in! Whoa! Whoa!
Fuck me.
Right, before we finish for good for this week's GCN show, a quick update on the GCN Club. Firstly, and once again, thank you to everybody who has registered their interest already and for the feedback that you have given as well. It really has blown us away how many people have responded. We are behind the scenes working furiously to collate all the feedback and to formulate the club to be the best that it can be. Or should we say, people brighter than us are doing that exact thing, aren't they? So we're now looking to open registration officially in December.
Absolutely. We will keep you posted, obviously, between now and then for any kind of updates. But yeah, there you go. There's your timeline. Right, all that needs to be said now, I guess, is subscribe to GCN if you don't already. To do so is free. Just click on the globe.
Yeah, a couple of videos to watch now. You've got to watch the one down here if you haven't done so already, even though it's from the Dirty Boys next door at GMBN. It is Martin Ashton conquering Whistler.
Absolutely, that will make you want to ride your bike today, that's for sure. And then for something a little bit more techie, perhaps, how about a factory tour at DT Swiss? Interestingly enough, how are spokes made? You find out just down there.